Hello, today I'd like to talk about what it means to find and really live your light. This could mean a few different things depending on the type of person you are and where you're coming from and what you've been through emotionally. But fundamentally, it means what fills you up with joy and happiness on a daily basis. And when you can come into that space and start to live through that every single day, you'll start to realize that the things that make you feel unhappy, you no longer want to partake in. So those things, those people and places that no longer feel good to you or serve your highest needs will naturally start to fall away. And this can be an emotional time because we are emotional beings after all. And it can be difficult to let go of people and places that no longer serve us. We feel guilty. There was so much attachment to our environments, and we can get stuck in that mode and that way of thinking that, why should we aim higher? Why should we really reach our light? If after all, it just means that we have to stand on other people to get there, or we're made to feel like a lesser person somewhere along the way. But when we can accept and embody that we are becoming one with the light and our happiness and joy, then we don't have to question it. We don't have to feel bad about it because we naturally sync with those experiences. We don't have to put any doubt in our minds at all that what we're doing is the right thing at the right time and that we're attracting the right people to us. And yeah, at first it's really scary because you're putting yourself out there and you're wondering, who's going to respond to this? Who's going to be receptive? Are people going to enjoy what I have to say or to give? Or is it more that I'm doing it for my own needs? Maybe there's some kind of healing process for me along the way. Maybe it's a bit of both. But whatever it is, we have to come to terms with and understand that the light that we have inside of us is there to give out and shine into the world. And if we don't start to really switch that light on and we're just surrounded in our own darkness, then we'll never really reach our potential because we'll always be misled, misguided, and follow any path that we think is going to lead to some kind of happiness or joyful state. When in actuality, when we can really look inside of ourselves through meditation or writing or anything that makes us feel joy and peace on a daily basis, when we really look inside of ourselves and we question what is bringing happiness into our lives, that's when we can move forward. That's when we'll step out of the shadows and into our highest self. And yet, okay, sometimes we might feel scared. We might not want to put ourselves out there. There's plenty of people who feel like it's safer to stay in a position where you don't have to put yourself out there for fear of being criticised, perhaps. But at the end of the day, if we're going to bed and we're feeling like we haven't really fulfilled our potential, that we're still keeping our light wrapped in cotton wool, then we're not going to be truly happy or living on purpose. And throughout our lives, this will start to add up. It might lead us to make choices which aren't for our highest good. And this can affect us emotionally. We might end up with a depression or some kind of emotional instability. We might end up in a relationship that doesn't serve us really. We might take that job which isn't really what our dream job or going to lead us to our perfect career. And okay, yeah, there is no such thing as perfection. Sometimes we have to take a step back and go, right, okay, what can I do right now to get to that position where I need to be? But if we're not trusting our inner compass, our inner flashlight, which is really what the heart is, which is why people say you should always do things with joy and love, which is really the most important thing ever, then if we're not doing it from that place, we are going to attract some negative, dark experiences into our lives. And in a way, what that is trying to tell you is take a step back, come away from that situation or those people who hurt you or make you feel lesser than your real worth. Take a step back and away from that position and really start to ask yourself what it is that your purpose is here in life. You can usually tell by what makes you feel happy. So for me, it was always writing. I always enjoyed writing. From a very young age, I knew that I wanted to do that in some form or another. I always kept a diary. I was always, gratitude journaling. I was writing short stories and poems, and I just wanted to continue that. And it's no surprise that eventually I did find a career with journalism and writing, which helped me to encompass those values and beliefs. But if you really have no idea, then just ask yourself, what is it? It can be the little things. What is it that just brings me joy and makes me feel like I could do this every day and really get a lot of happiness out of it? This could be something different for everyone. Perhaps it's, fitness. You might want to be a fitness instructor, or perhaps it's following a spiritual path, or becoming a dietitian or a nutritionist to help other people who might have struggled through their eating disorders. There's all kinds of journeys that we can go on in life, and it's really what resonates with us and how we're feeling. We don't have to copy what someone else does to be considered as valuable. Really, we should step into our own authentic self. And when we do that, by questioning and really understanding that we all have a unique beauty and a unique heart, and that happiness is going to be based on all of our experiences and what gives us joy, basically. So if we can start to ask ourselves, well, okay, what is it that makes me happy? And really, really don't focus on the head when you say that. Focus and listen to what your heart and your gut says. And if you ask a question and you feel it in your gut and in your heart, then you know that this is probably the right path for you. If you're feeling some kind of excitement about it, that's usually a good sign. But you should also be careful about that, because excitement can just be adrenaline. It can be another form of fear masquerading. So we have to be careful that, for example, when we're choosing our partner, that, that person is the right person for us, and not necessarily just going on that chemical feeling, which could lead us down the wrong path. No, what we need to do is really take a step back and listen inside what feels good and what doesn't. What makes me feel like my needs aren't being met, then I should avoid that situation to avoid causing myself any more hurt or damage or feelings of failure. Because really, when we can step into and listen to our guts, then we can start to raise our vibration and focus on the things that bring us joy and happiness, which is a lighter, happier feeling, which basically comes in more from up here than down below. Because when we're basically, if you look at the chakra system, it's the lower chakras which are focused more on our safety and security needs, whereas it's the higher chakras which are focused more on our spiritual development and enlightenment. So once we can have those lower chakras met and safely know that we're secure in those needs, then we can focus on the higher chakras. And the higher chakras, they are basically to help us to develop both on a self-development level and a spiritual level. So that is why, you should focus so much on finding your light within your heart, not your head, because your head can sometimes tell you a lot of stories which aren't necessarily true, and it might lead you down the wrong path. Our minds can often do a lot of projection because we feel like our stories are the way that the rest of the world works. So, for example, we might have had a bad experience growing up. Perhaps we were mistreated by a parent or a guardian, and somehow then we think that, adults or older people are not to be trusted, or maybe we don't trust our parents, maybe we don't trust a mother or a father figure because of that. And then there's so many projections and expectations which build up. And really, when you cut through it, none of it's really true. All it is that person's experiences, and those experiences are becoming internalized as beliefs. So if you can take a step back and just kind of put your mind and your mental experiences aside and come in from a more soulful place, that is the real you. That is the real light inside of you that's making you feel happy. And I think the more you trust and practice this exercise of coming down from the head and more into the body and really focusing on that heart, the more the light will grow inside of you and the more that you can shine it out to others. So I hope this is helpful. I just wanted to do a short video on this today just to let you know what was on my mind and what I've been thinking as well. Is really important because I see a lot of people, they just focus so much on trying to please others, I guess, and not necessarily fulfill their own cup first. And if you can just come back into yourself and find that soulful, safe place, you can rebalance and you'll find the right people for you, the right situations, the right jobs, the right life events that will help you to live a life of higher purpose. And it all starts with shining your light brightly into the world. So I hope that's helpful, and yes, have a very good day.